is only one perfect solution, but there are clues that will try to trick our team.
Hello there everyone, my name is Crazy Caleb and welcome to the Pentabutton. This is the way the module looks. It is a pentagon and it is a button, so therefore you can tell that this is Pentabutton. Now this module is a fairly simple button to do, and it is not that hard to understand. So in this case, we're going to be doing a hold and release time, which we're going to be calculating first our hold time, then our release time. The hold time being significantly a bit harder to do, even though this entire mod is quite simple to do. So, first things first, we're going to be following these rules in order as they are listed, with n being an integer and being equal to 1. This n, after all of these steps that we go through here, which we need to go through all of them to make sure that we have no rules that apply, that will represent the button should be held when the last digit of the bomb's timer is equal to n after you add or subtract n. So, let's get right into this. So, if the label is pressed, and by the way, we're going to start with 1, by the way, so if the label is pressed, yes, add the first digit of the serial number to n. Okay, let's take a look. First digit of the serial number is going to be a 6, so 1 plus 6 is going to be 7. Okay, if the label is penta, nope, we're not going to follow that rule. If the label is punch, nope. If the last digit of the serial number is odd, let's take a look. Last digit of the serial number is indeed odd, we're going to add it 2 to n. Now, it's important after this point, you want to make sure that you read the rules very carefully, because sometimes they might have otherwise cases. Like, for example, rule 5, here we go. If n is even, divide by 2, otherwise add 5 to n. And in this case, 9 is odd, as that's what it currently is right now. We're going to be simply adding 5 to it, so it's going to be 14. That's what we're going to get. If the amount of batteries is a prime number, let's take a look. We do not have any batteries. 0 itself, as you can see if we search up here, is 0 prime. It shouldn't be prime. It is not. Yep. Okay. So now, otherwise subtract it. If the amount of batteries is a prime number, add it to n. Otherwise, subtract it from n. And in this case, we're not going to be subtracting anything because it's simply 0. And if the label is 6 or more characters long, in this case, the label is only 5 letters long, double the number and subtract the amount of characters in the label. We don't have any otherwise conditions in this rule. So we're not going to be applying this whatsoever. And if n is odd, add 4 to n. In this case, that is not true. It's currently even right now. And if n is divisible by 3, add 3 to n. And in this case, it is not divisible by 3. The closest one would be 15. Second closest would be 12. And in this case, 14 is not divisible by 3. So, now after the above rules, we're going to simply add or subtract 10, or simply just take the least significant digit here, in this case. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get a single digit, in this case, 4. Now, the button should be held when the last digit of the bomb's timer is equal to n. Now, before we get into holding this, what we need to do is we need to make sure that we look at the correct release time. And then we want to go over this because this is going to be a bit important for us. So, refer to the table below to modify x, with x being an integer and being equal to the last digit of the serial number. So we're going to start with the last digit of the serial number, and what we're going to do is we're going to have a row or a row and column apply here that's going to apply some sort of offset here. And that is going to be when we release the digit. And if we're going to subtract it, we're going to modulo 10, and that's going to give us our last digit to release on. So, we're not going to be able to determine the base color, which we will see when we hold the button down correctly. There will be a color around it that will be one of these selections of colors here. But what we can do is we can determine the row first off. We can determine if it is the label is 6 or more characters long, which in this case the label is only 5. So therefore we're going to be using the otherwise case for this one. So now let's hold it down when it's a 4, when the last digit is a 4, and then we're going to modify the table. We're going to modify this 7. By some way or shape or form. So let's hold it down to 4, and it gives us a green. Now green gives us the +2 column, so now we're going to release this when the last digit is 7 plus 2, which is going to be a 9. When our last digit is a 9 here, and just like that is a solved module. That's all you simply need to do is you take the last digit for this last step here, for the second step here, you simply apply the color that happens here, and then you simply add +2 to this. That gives you your release time. Hope that makes sense. Let's take a look at one more example. This module is quite fairly simple to do, and it's not too hard to understand. So let's get into one final example. So let's take a look. let's see what we have here. So we have hold. Okay, so it's going to be none of these labels here first off. Remember, we're starting with 1. And if the last digit of the serial number is odd, let's take a look. It is currently even, so we're not going to be adding 2 to this. If n is even, divide by 2. It is only worth 1, so currently right now we're not going to divide by that. Otherwise, we're simply going to add 5 to n, which in this case is going to be true, giving us a total of 6. Next up, if the amount of batteries is a prime number, do we have any batteries? 1 is not prime. 1 is not prime. So we are now going to be subtracting 1 from n. So we're going to be subtracting 6 minus 1, and that is going to be a 5 here. If the label is 6 or more letters long, in this case it is not, it's only 4 this time around. So we are not going to be following this rule. If n is odd, we're going to add 4 to it. That's going to be 9. And if n is divisible by 3, which it is indeed divisible by 3, we're going to be adding 3 to n, which in this case is going to be 12. Okay, we're going to add or subtract 10, which in this case is going to give us our final digit of 2. And that's going to be when we're going to hold it. Now let's take a look down here. Label is 6 or more characters long. It is not, so we're going to be using the otherwise here. Hold it on a 2. It is currently red right now. We're going to add 1 to the last digit of the serial number, which is a 2. So 2 plus 1 is going to be equal to a 3. And just like that is a solved module. I completely forgot to note down the last digit of the serial number, but we're going to ignore that for right now. As always, thank you guys for watching. Remember to stay crazy, stay cool, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.